This last Shelby previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Any other coach with class, and I don't think Scully has an ounce of class.
He brought in other players.
His bench play the game. And
but what, is he supposed to tell his players to go up to the plate in the National Championship Series and not try to get on base?
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and on the SEC Network.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Happy Monday. Kinner and Kev, Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, Mr. Kev Nash. Welcome.
What up, though?
Happy Monday.
Good Monday to you.
Did you have a good weekend?
When the last time we did a show?
I don't know. We were off. Friday, I was at country concert.
Right.
Thursday, the Reds played.
Right.
Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday?
Process of elimination is my assumption.
Sure. Why not?
We are back. We are rolling. Got a full week. All-Star break is officially upon us. Home Run Derby and everything tonight. The All-Star game coming up with tomorrow. I mean, my goodness, there's so much going on. That's why I kind of wanted to open up with this because I thought we were done complaining about the fact that Elly De La Cruz was not in the All-Star game. Like a lot is being made about this, Kev. A lot of complaints are still coming down. So the New York Post, interesting article that had come out from them today that was kind of centered around Elly not being a part of the All-Star break. So Joel Sherman does a great job. Wrote an article, Elly De La Cruz's absence from MLB All-Star game shows it needs to overhaul to promote young stars. Now, I get it. I'm one of the biggest complainers in the world. I love finding things to complain about. In fact, I don't know if I could exist in this world if I didn't have something to complain about. But this might be one of the most silliest things I've ever heard people complain about. Elly De La Cruz is a megastar. He is the face of the Reds organization already, and he's the face of the now and the future is bright. He plays the game drastically different than everybody else in baseball. That is true, and him not deserving to be an All-Star right now is also true. Look, would it be great if he was on the All-Star roster and was on display in baseball's, marquee week outside of the playoffs to kind of put all their talent on display? Yes. But Kev, rules are the rules. He's played 1 month exactly. Mm-hmm. I think it would be a bigger disservice to Major League Baseball to just allow him to be on the All-Star roster because, he's really, really good. He didn't play 2.5 months of the first half of the season, but he's really good, so we're going to make an exception. That devalues, as wild as this sounds, I think that devalues the validity of being named an All-Star. If that's the case, who cares if you've been injured for 2.5 months of the season? You're Mookie Betts. You could play. Mookie Betts is an All-Star. He's not hurt. I'm just saying, if a megastar, if Mike Trout was injured, and he always is, for 2.5 months, would he be named an All-Star? No, he wouldn't. Shohei Ohtani, the face of Major League Baseball right now, one of the best pitchers in baseball, one of the best hitters in baseball, the best overall player in baseball. If he misses 2.5 months of the season, Kev, he's not in the All-Star game. So why are we making a big deal about this? Reds fans, you're not even great fans right now. Let's be clear. I'm going to call you guys out, okay? You weren't like me. I stuck by the organization side. I was Mr. Positive, okay? You guys were sell the team, Bob, and all this stuff. And probably some of you still want him to sell the team, and I completely get it. But you were boycotting. You weren't going to watch the Reds. You weren't going to listen to the Reds. You weren't going to go to the ballpark. You weren't going to put money in the pockets of the owners of the Reds, right? But here you are, City Connect jerseys, yelling, Elly, Elly, Elly. Now you want to pretend to be a Reds fan, and now you want to be outraged that he's not there. At the end of the day, he had an opportunity to be a part of All-Star Week. He turned it down. He turned down the Home Run Derby, which I had no problem with. I thought it was cool that he was extended an offer, but baseball had a chance to have him on display. He rejected it. I'm totally fine with that, and I'm totally fine with him not being a part of All-Star Week. A year from now, if he's not a part of it, then we can talk. But this is ridiculous. National media is upset that he's not a part of All-Star Week. What do you want baseball to do? I think we just like complaining about baseball because everyone hates Rob Manfred at the end of the day.
So, doing a little deep dive. So, the Reds have played 91 games so far.
Yep.
He has played 30. That's 32% of the Reds games he's participated in. Is there a rule that says you have to play an X amount of games to be considered an All-Star? Is that an actual rule?
If there was a rule, I should have looked that up before going on this rant. But I guess in my head, if you're not playing at least 50% of and I think 50% is still a low number, as wild as that sounds. I mean, especially because I've always complained that being named an all-star is such a prestigious thing, but you only have to be an all-star for less than half of the season. The back half is longer than the first half of the season. And you have to be you just have to be good the first half and bad the second half, and you're still going to be named. Alfredo Simon, I'll never forget. That's the player last week. I couldn't think of his name. He led baseball in wins at the All-Star break and was named an All-Star for the Reds. And that year he was an All-Star pitcher, right? I think he had like 11 wins or something at the All-Star break, something wild. Or it was 8 or 11, something like that. And then he won 2 games the rest of the whole season. But he's an all-star, right? Remember Jesse Winker. Jesse Winker was part of the dual outfielders for the Reds that started in the All-Star game 2 years ago. Jesse Winker was a mega all-star for the Reds that year. No, he wasn't. He was a mega all-star for 2.5, 3 months, Kev. He was horrendous in the back half, hitting just a little over 200. I mean, you were almost a first baseman Hall of Famer 40-year-old at those numbers. We'll get to that in a moment. But I'm not a fan of that anyways. Unfortunately, I can't give you an answer. That was a long-winded response. I do not know, but I still feel like you need to play way more than 50% of the first half of the season to be named an all-star, in my opinion.
So for me, if he was named an all-star, I wouldn't have any problem with it at all. If you're out there putting your best product and your most popular players on the field for your summer classic, I have absolutely no problem with it all. This is for the fans. This is why I never get bent out of shape about when, I don't know, think back when you can think back to super long time ago when Michael Jordan was voted into the All-Star game as a rookie. You can go back to when Shaquille O'Neal was voted into the All-Star game as a rookie. Like, there are some phenoms that should be participating in these games, not only because they're doing what they're supposed to do on the field and bring in wow factor to it, but it makes your sport bigger and better. Because the fringe fans, the people that don't watch baseball on an everyday basis, that don't check in with their quote unquote teams all the time, maybe they check in from week to week and just check up on the team, see how they're doing. Lots of people watch the home run derby. Lots of people watch the summer classic. People tune in for it and they like it. They watch it like it's something that they grew up doing. So it's like kind of like in their nature. So to put a star player on there, to the guy that people have been talking about nonstop since he got into the majors, to actually get an opportunity to see him, because we got to think about it. We talk about him a ton because we get to see him. We get to hear him right here on 1410 Wing AM. I'm not sure if people out there in California have seen him play before. I'm not sure if people out there in Seattle have seen him play before. Not sure if the people in Texas have seen him play before. I'm sure the New York people are just watching him right now, wishing he was in pinstripes. So it's a lot of people out there that have heard of him but haven't seen him play. So it's the difference between seeing highlights and actually seeing him on the field and being honored and everything like that. I have no problem with him either or, because this is for the fans. You're servicing the fans, and that's what it's truly all about. So if the fans really wanted him in there, they could have voted him in there. And to your point about him not playing enough games, well, the fans didn't get a chance to see him enough to vote him into there. So I don't have a problem one way or other. If fans would have voted him in there and people were like, oh man, he hasn't played enough games, I'd be like, well, the fans voted him in there. Who cares? Same way. I feel the same way in NBA All-Star Weekend. Like, I don't get bent out of shape about who's an All-Star snub. Who cares, dude? If the fans want to see him in there, then they get to see him in there. It's not that big of a deal, because guess what? 9 times out of 10, he's probably about to be a 10, 15-year All-Star, and it'll probably start next year when he's playing all the games.
My apologies, Shaw. Thank you for pointing that out. The back half is not longer than the front. It's 90. I thought it was 90. I thought it was 71. My right state math was way off.
No. Don't disrespect our university like that. That's the Kenner math.
I'm not medicated today. So a little off. Where was I going with this? Focus. See, this is why I'm struggling today. No, it's 91 games in the front half. It's 70 in the back and all that stuff. So either way, but with all of that being said, this is why I mock all-star games, because we want to the honor of being named an all-star. We want to prop that up.
Right.
But then in situations like this, we mock it and say, well, it's just a little exhibition display for the sport to display their big names, right? Well, it can't be both. Because if it's a prestigious thing that these players have earned, and by the way, I'm not anti De La Cruz. He is a mega star. We have never, I shouldn't say we've never seen anything like in my lifetime. We have not seen this with the Reds, not in my lifetime. So That's what's wild about this. I mean, we're watching two generational talents emerge into the scene in baseball that are not just super talented, but they have the charisma and the show factor. Shohei Ohtani, no pun intended. Shohei Ohtani and Elly De La Cruz. Now, maybe I'm being a little bit of a homer putting Elly in that category, but the reason I'm putting him in that category, Elly is doing things that no other player in baseball is doing. I thought he had he looked and kind of had a similar build as Tatis Jr. So I was kind of going in that direction with him a little bit, but way more athletic. I mean, he's an NBA player playing baseball. Like that's what he's. Allen Iverson. He's 6'5". He's 6'5" Allen Iverson playing baseball. That's who he is. He's diving all over the place. He has no care in the world about his body. It is the coolest freaking thing. Actually, Pete Rose. It's a different version of Pete Rose, Kev. Like that, that's what it is. And so to me, yes, he's an all-star. He's a superstar. He is something we haven't ever seen in baseball in a long, long time. However, this is strictly about the all-star game standards to get in. There is no rule. I just looked it up. There is no set amount of games. It's strictly up to, but we talked about this in the past with the NBA all-star game. Remember that year, like Yao Ming hadn't retired, but he had gotten hurt. And he never announced. So he didn't I think his contract was just let go. No one signed him, or I forgot how it exactly worked, but he didn't even play at all. But he was still the number one vote getter for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And because, so popular, he was just the face of China and all that stuff, and all that stuff. So, China loved him. And everyone did. He was a mega star, but he didn't even play in the first half. He was the leading vote getter for the All-Star game. People said, oh, no, you can't have that. And I agreed. Allen Iverson was another one, Kev. Remember those last couple of years where he was going to, did he play for Detroit? He played for Memphis.
Played for Memphis and Detroit
and
at the back end of his career.
One of the top leading vote getters, though, during that stretch for the All-Star game because he was just strictly popular.
Yeah.
No issue with that, but he didn't play in a lot of those games.
Right.
I didn't like that either. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. Bottom line is if Elly wanted to be on display during the All-Star week, Kev, it should have been tonight. He got the invite for the home run derby and turned it down. I don't have an issue with that, but let's not act like baseball didn't do everything they could to find a way to make it work. But you can't tell the fans you get a vote and then say, well, your votes don't matter. I mean, this isn't the American democracy here. Okay, this is the All-Star game. Your vote should count, damn it. Like I'm just saying. So there we go. I'm all over the place.
What if Major League Baseball, the commissioner, they do have veto power up there and say, you know what? You're in there. You're playing. You're a part of the big show on Tuesday night. Would you have a problem with that?
No, I wouldn't. But getting mad at baseball for not doing it is silly too. If they did it, it would make sense. I would still say this is why it's kind of, if that's his first All-Star appearance, I'd put an asterisk by it. Like you played 30 games, all this stuff, but I'm not trying to make something out of nothing here. It is what it is. I just find this article a little dramatic.
And maybe he feels like that. Maybe Elly feels like that. Maybe he feels like he hasn't quote unquote earned it yet.
Yep. We should be more mad about Matt McClain not being on this roster, who has just been, for 2 of the 3 months has been one of the most dominant players in baseball as a rookie, along with De La Cruz. But Matt McClain is I guess he doesn't do anything that a lot of other players don't do. He's just really, really good. He doesn't stand out, doesn't pop. That's what Elly does. And that's the difference. But nonetheless, by the way, who would have thought coming into the season that we'd be debating about Reds All-Star snubs? Who would have thought coming into the season that we'd be talking about the Reds in first place, 9 games above 500, sitting alone in first place atop the NL Central, the Cardinals in dead last, the Cubs not as good as we anticipate. I mean, my goodness, kudos to the Reds, kudos to the first half of the season. Here we are. And that's all I got to say about that. But how about the Reds get shut out yesterday? Was it yesterday that finally? Yeah, it was on the golf course yesterday and following the game along. Yeah, 1-0. They got shut out. By the way, correct me, Reds fans. Was that the first shutout? Was that the first shutout of the Red? I think so, which is pretty wild. Maybe they got shut out against the Yankees when they got swept. But what's pretty interesting about this, when you look at the standings for everything for baseball right now, all the top teams ahead of everybody, the Reds have beat some of the best teams in baseball. Like, I don't think that this is just like an I don't think this is a, what do you want to call it? What would
fluke?
A fluke? I mean, like, so you want to, I'm going to pull up the standings now because I was kind of taking a look at this earlier and I was like, there was a stretch, Kev, where I'm like, and this isn't a shot at your Guardians, but like, okay, 45 and 45 are the Guardians. First place as well. Baseball in Ohio is,
Brought my jersey today.
You did. I get that City Connect jersey for the Reds. That's pretty. But that I've always been a fan of the Indians / Guardians. Like, attire and all that stuff, but pretty cool. Yeah, I thought you were wearing that too. You had that on one day. I thought we were going to the Reds stadium. And I thought you were wearing that. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. That's something I would do. Like I'd wear my brown stuff over to that, but no. So a lot of stuff I hear about the Guardians. Well, someone's got to win the Central.
Yes.
And that's not a shot at the Guardians. That's just the reality of, how much I love my Cleveland sports team. So I'm just, I'm not saying, but someone's got to win that division, right? And we were hearing a lot of that about the Reds. But I started looking at this. I'm like, okay, they're 50-41. They would be third place in the East, okay, which is a tough division because the Braves are just that damn good. But the Marlins, the second best team in that division, the Reds are right up there with them, who, by the way, they took 2 or 3 from. Okay, they took 2 or 3. They'd be ahead of the Mets. Well, I mean, they're 8 games ahead of the Mets, who they took 2 or 3 from. You look at the West, 51-38. The Reds would be a half a game behind the Dodgers in the West. Well, guess what? They took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. They're going to have the Diamondbacks and the Giants coming out of the All-Star break here in the month of July. They took 2 or 3 from the Padres, who they're 7 games better than. Let's go to the American League, okay? The Reds took 2 or 3 from the Tampa Bay Rays, who are sitting atop the East. All right, they took 2 or 3 on the road against the Baltimore Orioles, who are second in that division. They did get swept by the Yankees, but they took 2 or 3 from the Boston Red Sox. But look at that, the AL East. The Boston Red Sox are 48-43, 5 games over 500, Kev, and yet they're 9 games back in that division. But the Reds would be third in that AL East, the best division in baseball. The Rangers, the Reds took 2 or 3 from them. They're sitting atop the West. They swept the Astros. This is just, they took 2 or 3 from the Athletics, which no one's bragging about that, but here we are. I think the Reds are legitimate. I do think they're legitimate, and it's been a fascinating thing. Your Guardians, are they good?
No.
Or is it someone just has to win the Central?
Somebody just has to win the Central. They're not good, and nobody in the AL Central is good. And right now, if you're a 500 team leading your division, that speaks volumes of how bad the division is. They're 45-45, and that's how they'll play the entire season. Everybody's basically jumbled up right there. And I think that the Guardians have the best pitching in their division. And I think that's why ultimately they'll win their division and then lose in 5 games in the first round of the playoffs again.
All right. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Guardians fans, if you exist in the Miami Valley.
I'm right here.
All right.
It's only me.
Somebody has to win the division, or are the Guardians a good baseball team? I want to know that. But we opened the show with this Elly De La Cruz talk. Joel Sherman, New York Post, just put this out, a story that came out, basically saying that baseball has a problem. Elly De La Cruz not being in the All-Star, being absent from the All-Star game, shows that MLB needs to overhaul its strategy for the All-Star game to promote the younger guys. I disagree. I think there's so many young stars. There's so many every big name that is in baseball is in this All-Star game that played more than 30 games. I don't think baseball is a problem, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are right. So let's talk about it. 518-1410. Give Kev and I a call. Reds fans, are you on my side? Do you agree that, hey, Elly De La Cruz is a megastar, but he doesn't need to be an all-star this year? He only played 30 games. Or do you agree with Kev and Joel Sherman and others that, hey, this is a stage for baseball to put its biggest stars on regardless of the format? 518-1410. Give us a call. Let's talk. We'll be right back. Kinner and Kev, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Today's sunshine to start the day, then going to see a few afternoon clouds, high of 86. Tonight, mostly clear skies, low of 64 degrees. And tomorrow for your Tuesday, going to be generally sunny with a high of 89. I'm Adam Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
O'Reilly Auto Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer free check engine light diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Summer rib season is back, baby, at Frickers. Join us for the perfect pairing of frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs together all summer long for only $14.99. Bring the whole family as kids 10 and under eat free from the kids menu all day, every day. Spend time with the family. Enjoy frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs all summer long for only $14.99. And kids 10 and under eat free only at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So what do you provide? Cookie cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Fill your shower with the fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds. Irish Spring. When the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Dayton sports fans, don't forget to follow and subscribe to ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Listen, watch, interact. Search ESPN Dayton on YouTube.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM, live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. We are excited to be hanging out with you here on a Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. How about this news? I thought was very interesting. Sean Casey, former Cincinnati Red, has now been named or has been hired by the Yankees as their hitting coach for at least the rest of 2023. The New York Yankees, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan, are turning to Sean Casey as their hitting coach. According to the New York Post, which first reported the news, it is expected that Casey will fill the role for the remainder of the season so he can better decide if it is a position he would like to remain in going forward. That's kind of strange.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's trying out the position, but it's the New York Yankees. And, you know, he don't even know if he wants to do this.
Interim.
Yeah. So, yeah. Mikey. But that interesting nonetheless. But the Yankees fired hitting coach Dylan Lawson after their 7-4 loss to the Cubs this past Sunday, which that's how this first half of the season ended. So, you know, they're not looking to fill it full time, but I guess it's a trial, just a little trial period for Sean Casey, but he's also given the position's a trial for him as well. He doesn't even know if he wants to do it long term, but this is a way for him to test out the waters. And there are worse rosters of hitters to have to test the waters with this. So good for him.
You think?
But nonetheless. All right. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, 1410 Wing AM. The first Wright State Raider that was drafted today was Justin Reamer. He's been selected by the Boston Red Sox, just got drafted in the 4th round. You want to talk about Wright State. They've been no stranger to guys being drafted in Major League Baseball, not just drafted, but moving up. Tyler Black, I believe, with the Chicago White Sox, if I'm not, or the Brewers, I think was named a top 100 prospect in baseball. I think that's pretty exciting. Tomorrow night, we're going to get to see Sean Murphy, Centerville Elk, and former Wright State Raider, a high draft pick as well. He's the best catcher in baseball, and he's going to be starting in the National League for the Atlanta Braves. So that's pretty cool. Sean Murphy tomorrow, Kev, will be the first Wright State Raider alum to compete in the MLB All-Star game, as he's going to represent the National League in the start as the starting catcher.
Alma mater, just doing great things. I love it.
Yep. Tyler Black, as I mentioned, with the Brewers, has been officially named into the MLB Top 100 prospect list. So that's pretty damn cool. I mean, like the Raiders, this has been a good 10-year window where guys are going into the pros left and right, and now you're starting to see, it's been a little less than that, but you're starting to see them as they've made their way through the system now. They're starting to get cracks at the roster and stuff. So the White Sox, and the Raiders throughout the league that we'll keep an eye on. But that's pretty neat as far as a local perspective goes. But woof. Yes, 17 home runs for Sean Murphy on the year, and hopefully he gets one tomorrow night. So we'll see what happens. We'll see, as we always say. All right, I talked about this article from, again, the New York Post, Joel Sherman. He was talking about baseball's issue with the format of how they put together these all-star rosters and saying that they need to reconfigure it because they need to overhaul it because it's clearly there's something broken. If Elly De La Cruz is none of this all-star game, something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. It's been 3 months. He played 30 games there's 91 games. The Reds, 50 and 41. If my right state math serves me correctly, that's 91 games. He played in 30 of them. That's it. He played in 30 games. Not a little bit of games, but it's not a lot of games, and it's not even close to being half of those games. So to me, it's just kind of one of those things where I'm fine and content with him not being in there. He played 1 month of 3. It is what it is. But he went on to say how Major League Baseball should kind of switch this up, but it would almost take the voting element out of it to a certain degree. 26 and older versus 25 and younger. Kind of like you would have almost like a Legends roster or like a nostalgia roster, basically. That would almost put like Joey Votto on that. That would, you know what I mean? Like that would put, the old man division, right? That's where he would be, right? No, but what do you think about that? Look, the NBA changed theirs up, and I hate it. I want it. There's talks of it going back to the East versus West, which I like. I don't mind that the NBA try to tinker with it a bit. Hey, let's mix it up. Let's do an interactive thing. They'll draft their own teams, blah, blah, blah. I like that they're potentially going back to the East versus West. So I don't like when leagues tinker with things too much, but I'm not totally against this. 25 and under team going up against a 26 and older team. It's not the worst thing in baseball. You get to see the young stars you maybe haven't heard of, and then a lot of familiar names on the older roster.
Yeah, I love when they do this, and then this is the perfect venue to do it for the All-Star because it doesn't matter. It's an exhibition game. In hockey, they used to do the U.S. versus the world type of thing. Right now, they're doing the NBA All-Star weekend where you draft whoever you want type of thing. I think the problem with the NBA is it was bad execution. It was just so many performances before the actual game started, like you forgot who was playing on what roster. So they wanted to say, we're going to make it like a pickup game. Like, all right, we're picking you. But like, it was just so many bells and whistles that went into it. Like it lost its luster. For me, if they were to do something like that, I wouldn't mind. But the problem with MLB, their biggest problem is they don't have a avenue for a player like Elly, the guy that only played 30 to 35 games. In the NBA, they have the Rising Stars game. That comes on Friday nights. And then the big game, quote unquote, comes on Sunday nights. Like they have the MLB futures games, but that's played by minor league players, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
I remember they used to have the quote unquote old timers games and things like that. So like if they had an avenue to put out the guys that were on the cusp of being all-stars, they had a game for them to play in, then that would help. But they don't have that avenue for MLB players right now. So we're kind of like at the mercy of how things are set up. I'm not necessarily against, making it like the 25 and under guys versus the older guys. I'm not opposed to that at all. I actually will watch that because, you would get a lot of cross matching. You would get guys that are on the same team playing against each other, kind of how we saw in the NBA All-Star game where Jaylen Brown and Tatum were guarding each other. I think those type of things are cool for fans to see.
518-1410, that's the number to call or text, by the way, to jump in on the conversation. And I will say this, at the end of the day, this is only being talked about because of an outlier. Elly De La Cruz is a megastar that has played in 30 games because he was called up 2 months and some change into the season. A year from now at this time, we're not talking about this. A year from now, unless there's another Elly De La Cruz that's about to hit the scene 70 or 60 games in, we're not talking about it. We didn't do this last year. We didn't have this conversation last year. We didn't have it the year before. We're having it this year because the Reds' surprising takeoff this year has thrown a wrinkle in a lot of things. It threw out a wrinkle in Joey Votto's goodbye tour, farewell tour, in my opinion. It threw a wrench in the roster construction for this year. For instance, the other problem with Elly De La Cruz, Kev, he's a third baseman, but he's supposed to be the Red shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt McClain ended up being so good at shortstop. And then you have Jonathan India, and then you have Spencer Steele, and then you have 40-year-old Joey Votto who's getting in the way. There's a lot. And then you also have all this talent. You have Edwin Encarnacion Strand, who just continues to knock the ball out of the ballpark. Another middle infielder who they've toyed with putting in the outfield. Like, the Reds being this good, Kev, has thrown a wrench in a lot. It's a good problem to have. No one feels bad for him. I don't. But it's even thrown a wrinkle in this and how Elly De La Cruz is viewed because he's supposed to be the Reds shortstop. And Matt McClain's thrown a wrinkle in that. Again, a good problem to have. Is he a third baseman moving forward? I don't know. I'm fascinated by what the Reds do moving forward, not in the immediate forward, like being the second half of the season, but starting in the off season. Like, I do think the Reds need to have defined roles. I've seen a lot of errors in the outfield because you have middle infielders like Nick Senzel and others that have been pushed out to the outfield because you got to, where are you going to go? And a lot of times you see miscommunication in the outfield. They make the catch, but sometimes it's ugly. They run into one another at times. They make some errors out there. And it's because they're playing a position that they weren't even prepared to play coming into the year. They're all great team players. They're willing to make the, adjustments that they need to. But good problem to have, but it is a problem. And it's even a problem in this situation too. I don't even know what the hell position he plays. So,
when he first started playing for the Reds, a lot of fans were jumping the gun, talking about, oh man, in 6 years we won't be able to keep him, everything like that. I'll jump aboard that train real quick. I want to see what happens in the offseason with agents, because agents dictate a lot of these things as well. Agents dictate where, hey man, my guy is a blank. He's a shortstop. He's a second baseman. That's what he plays because they see the path to get them paid the most money. When the player gets paid a lot of money, the agent gets paid a lot of money. And also getting them into all-star games and things of that situation, because like, all right, they can kind of map things out to say, all right, he's going up against these guys that are perennial all-stars. He's going to have to play his butt off to make it to the all-star game. Well, if you play third baseman, there's not a lot of good third basemen in that spot. You'll make the all-star game. You'll be able to make X amount of dollars in bonuses and things like that. So I want to see what happens when the agents get involved in these position talks with the organization in the offseason.
So Shaw weighs in.
Hello, Shaw.
Says one or two of these guys won't be Reds. Well, you can't just say one or two of these guys. Who are these guys?
Which guys win? Playing for the Yankees, Red Sox, Bravos.
Because Votto should be gone. Period. Seriously. See ya. Thank you for your contributions. It's been nice watching you go on a little hot streak. My favorite is when you have 3 great games, all of a sudden you're back. But no one says, hey, be patient. He'll suck again. No. But when you suck for 3 straight games, it's, be patient. He'll be good again. You guys crack me up. But no, Joey Votto has been, especially this past weekend. I mean, he played a huge role in that series and the series before that. But he was also hitting 147 at one point. But now he's up to that with 250. So he did his job this past weekend. But anyways, Joey Votto leaving. You have Encarnacion Strand. You have Steele. You have Jonathan India. You have, obviously, Elly De La Cruz. You missing one, Matt McClain. 5 guys right there. And then you also have a lot of key guys in the system. So I don't know. When you say 1 to 2 of those guys won't be right, which 2 guys? Shaw, you can't just say 1 to 2 guys and not name the guys, or at least have it, you're throwing out a general comment there without any substance to it. I just need to know. Because I think they're going to find a way. Look, Encarnacion and Strand can go to first. All right. Or I'm sorry, Steele could be, Encarnacion and Strand can go to the outfield. That's what they need to be working on that now in the minors. Steele's at first base. Matt McLean, something needs to be figured out third. I think I'd rather him be Elly De La Cruz will be third baseman. Shortstop, of course, second baseman, all that needs to be ironed out. There's a lot that needs to be ironed out. It's a good problem to have. But you brought up a good point. Agents will feast on that.
Yes.
Because this David Bell middle school roster makeup thing that he's doing, where you're going to play third one day and short the next, and we'll DH you today and we'll put you in the right field tomorrow. Stop it. These are men. These are Major League Baseball players. Figure it out. Third baseman, shortstop, second baseman. I always made fun of the Reds because they were always we're very key on utility guys. Well, you need a guy. If you have a guy that can play third and short, that means they're average. So I'd rather have one elite shortstop than to have one average guy that could play the position average at two multiple positions. So third baseman, you are third baseman. At times in a pinch, if we need to move you over, fine. But you're right. Agents will feast on that.
Yeah.
They're going to tell the Reds, hey, get your stuff together. Stop moving my guy to the outfield. Stop having him play first one day and third the next and all this. And I don't want to hear about how teams manage games. I don't care. It's not about how managers manage. It's about how agent. And you're right. They will not, because bonuses are based on how many games at certain positions you play, whether you make an all-star game at that position.
Mm-hmm.
I think not having a set position or having a, being moved all over the place also prevents you from getting legitimate votes at a certain position group. So nonetheless,
we see it in football a lot more, or hear about it more in football, snap bonuses, passing yard bonuses, rushing bonuses, and things of that nature. I mean, we saw it last year with Derek Carr. They benched him and everything like that because all right, they knew, we're not going to the playoffs, but if he plays the rest of the season, he's going to play X amount of snaps, he's going to throw X amount of yards, that's going to entitle him a $2 million bonus. We don't want to pay him $2 million. He's benched. Even though he still gave you the best chance to win, you guys started to tank. And now it's just like a ripple effect that affected not only his stature with the Raiders, but his paycheck as well. So MLB, their agents don't play. Their agents make sure their players get every dime owed to them. The whole player discount we're talking about with quarterbacks and Joe Burrow and the NBA and everything like that. They don't do that in MLB. They get every single dollar.
Yep. And if you mean these players at some point will leave, when their contract, the Reds will not keep all these guys when it's time to pay them all. By the way, not a lot of teams can. Even the Yankees. There's a lot of if the Reds have an entire middle infield of all-stars, potential all-stars, they can't pay them all. That's just not how baseball's set up today. You know what I mean, Kev? There's just no way. That's not a Reds thing. William Yelly on Facebook just said, isn't it ironic that the one guy the Reds signed and locked up is already on the IL? I don't think that's ironic at all. It's baseball. Injuries happen all the time. I don't know.
It's bad luck.
Shohei Ohtani got injured.
We got a blister.
He had something. Yeah. I mean, hitting and pitching and playing every day and pitching every 5 days and all that. Shaw said, let's see. Shaw said, I agree that Votto should be gone, but you can't have all these middle infielders with no outfielders and no starting pitching. Actually, their outfield, they have to figure out who they're locked in on the outfield. I agree with you on that. But as far as no starting pitching, they just have injured starting pitching. They're starting pitching. Nick Lodolo, you have Hunter Green, obviously injured, with Abbott. And obviously they just drafted a really good pitcher right now that we'll talk about here shortly. The Reds starting pitching, I think, is going to be fine. I'm not worried about the Reds pitching. The Reds pitching will be fine. The Reds pitching is banged up right now. They need depth at pitching. They need to add depth to their pitching. I think their pitching's okay. They need to add pitching, the depth to their pitching. Now, when I say their pitching's okay, statistically, it's not. I think they're the third or fourth worst rotation in baseball. But that's what I would be more concerned, Kev, if their whole rotation's healthy and they're the fourth worst rotation in baseball. Let's let Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo get healthy and have a big 1-2-3 punch with Abbott. And I like what we saw from Graham Ashcraft over the last couple of starts. He's starting to kind of get into the flow a little bit. And I kind of like just the hybrid fifth rotation guy with Ben Lively and others. I am going to say this. I've been pushing for the Reds to be very active at the trade deadline. Kev, there's a good chance with Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo all supposed to be scheduled to come back close to the trade deadline to begin with. And then there's TJ Antone coming back. I would not be surprised if the Reds, if there's not a big move to be made, they may not make a move at all. They may look at this and say, we're in first place. We've already won 50 games. They'll probably be close to that, that 65 win, 70 win range by the time we get to the end of that 65 win to 70 win range by the time we get to the end of July. Or not end of July, I should say, maybe by the time we get to mid-August. I think that they could literally say, we are not, like if we were desperate, we would do this. I don't think the Reds are desperate. We keep complaining about the starting pitching. Guess what? They're still in first place.
How many games they up right now?
I think a game and a half or a game.
Okay.
I have to go look. I think it's a game, but they have a lot with the series with the Brewers coming out of the break is going to be key. Can they hold off the Brewers coming out of the break? They'll at least have them at home. That should help, but nonetheless. All right. Kidder and Kev, 1410 Wing AM. Good stuff. So much to still dive into. Got some Red stuff. We're going to get into this Joey Votto conversation. Some of y'all don't understand what it's like having an opinion. Like if we have an opinion, it's about something that's happening now. And if someone's playing poorly now, and I say that guy is playing poorly now, that's because they're playing poorly now. Just because they start playing well 2 weeks later doesn't mean that my take was wrong. When you're playing bad, you're playing bad. When you're playing well, you're playing well. Playing well doesn't negate the fact that you were playing bad, and playing bad doesn't negate the fact that you're playing well. This is about our opinions based on how the hell you're playing now. Follow along?
Like Allen Iverson out here crossing people
over. Just broke some people's ankles. And one. Probably traveled, though. But we'll be right back. Kidder and Kev, 1410 Wing AM.
3 steps.
Crab dribble.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that is experienced working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sports, sports medicine, strength and conditioning, and more at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
Yo, 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 what's up, party people? I'm Julie Foudy.
And I'm Lynn Ozawi.
We host the ESPN podcast Laughter Permitted, where we have candid chats with trailblazing women in sports and beyond.
We've talked with goats like Billie Jean King, Simone Biles, Mia Hamm, Sue Bird, Candace Parker, Michaela Schifrin, just to name a few.
So grab a donut or 500 and check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And a huge shout out to our presenting sponsor, Ally, who has supported us since day one.
It's Laughter Permitted. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I'm looking for fuel injector cleaner.
Right now, buy a bottle of Chevron Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner and get one free. Only at AutoZone.
Will it also help with my mileage?
Get everything you need to restore your performance in MPGs.
Get in the zone.
Wait, is it good for trucks too?
Whatever vehicle you have, you can find the right products and parts at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Delivery's at the door. Can someone please unlock?
It's been an eventful afternoon with a spike in bookings at Claudia's event space.
We'd love to host Mermaid Fest.
She was already planning on having more event planners on hand.
500? That's a lot of tails.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Get 11% off everything at Menards and elevate the look of your home. We carry the largest selection of Hunter ceiling fans. They're perfect for adding light, comfort, and style to any room while helping save on energy bills. Get the LED Allendale ceiling fan for just $99.99 after 11% rebate. Visit Menards today and receive 11% off all ceiling fans. Good through July 16th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Not so comfy? They want to help. At Drake Heating and Air, they're all about getting your AC running ice cold again. Get your $99 AC tune-up with no hidden fees and no surprises. They're not happy till you're comfy.
Dayton sports fans, for more local sports content, make sure to subscribe to Dayton's ESPN Radio YouTube channel. And don't miss the Miami Valley's only local sports talk show, The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 Wing AM.
Kinner and Kev, 1410 Wing AM, live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. Make sure you go and check us out there. Appreciate if you're listening to us on 1410 Wing AM or wingam.com. So many different ways to take in the show. How about this, Kev? So Patrick Mahomes, him and his wife just finished building their dream home. In their dream home, it's a massive mansion. They have a gigantic pool and a big private pond. Okay, that's just normal rich people stuff, okay? But a giant pool, a giant private pond, and a par 3 golf hole in his backyard. That's freaking cool. He also has half a football field with his personal logo on it and his name printed in the end zone.
Nice.
I want a version of Cribs, like a sports version of Cribs. Is Cribs still a thing?
Yes.
Is it still on MTV?
Yes.
You mean they make time for it between Jersey Shore and Teen Mom?
And MTV The Challenge? Yeah.
The Challenge?
Yeah, they show it every once in a while, yeah.
Interesting. But I think that would be fascinating to see, just like all athletes, just, a Cribs version of that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Can you swim? Are you a swimmer?
I could float and I could hold on to a boat or a wall or something close by.
Yeah, I'm a non-swimmer, even though I passed swimming in high school. I don't know if I built my dream home with Patrick Mahomes' money, if I'm going to put a pool in my backyard, because I can't swim.
See, to me, it's not about I sit in the shallow end, not because I can't swim, but like even if you can swim, who the heck just goes and just hangs out in the deep end? Like I am curious about that. Like even if I could swim, and I think I could float. I cannot drown until I do.
So basically all 6 feet.
But like, yeah, if you're
deep end, is it 6 feet?
For our listeners that can swim, I mean, like when we go to parties and stuff, we're just drinking in the pool and we're just kind of hanging out in the water. I'm not really like, doing flips off the diving board and doing backstrokes and showing off or anything. I don't have my swim cap on and my little goggles. And I'm just sitting there with
Kendra Phelps.
Sitting there with a beer in my hand,
Dream home, indoor basketball court?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
And that par 3, F that, man. I'm going to get a par 5. I want a par 5 in my backyard. Yeah,
big time.
Just throwing
it's a lot of land.
Now, keep in mind, for confidence-wise, it'll be the length of a par 3. I'm just going to call it a par 5 so that, I can get birdies and eagles and everything else.
What else would you put in your dream home?
Actually, that's not true. I'm probably parring a par 5 the length of a par 3 because that's how I roll. But the basketball court, movie theater, for all the movies I don't watch. I want the movie theater, though, to watch the live sporting events. Like, that's how I do it, But the movies, I don't need to watch them. Kev will just tell me about all these great movies that are out there. But anyways, 518-1410. We opened up a lot of Reds talk. Elly De La Cruz not in the All-Star game. Should he be? They talked about the Reds roster makeup and some of the challenges that present themselves for the Reds moving forward. A lot of problems, but they're good problems to have. Problems that we thought the Reds would have a lot of problems this season, and we were so wrong. I mean, here we are 3 months into the season, and we're arguing about a megastar that the Reds have in Elly De La Cruz not being in the All-Star game, and talking about them a game ahead in the NL Central, first place at the All-Star break, 50-win first half season. I mean, unbelievable. Problems, but good problems to have. Let's go to the phones. 518-1410. We got John waiting on us. John, thanks for waiting, sir.
Yep, you're welcome. Just calling about Elly De La Cruz and the MLB All-Star situation. I mean, yes, he is a generational talent, and unfortunately, he didn't get called up until, end of May. so he only got 1 month. But as you said earlier, Matt McClain is the bigger guy that should be in the All-Star game, not Orlando Arcia from the Braves. So overhauling the All-Star game, I am definitely all for, and not giving fans as much of a choice and kind of letting the players do it like in other leagues and professional sports here in North America.
I agree with you so much on that. Kev was shaking his head, but like I never once have thought, man, I would watch this All-Star game if I had a vote. I've never once thought that. And even in the games I have voted in, sometimes I forget who the hell I voted for. And then I'm like, might vote for my guys, but like, I'm going to vote for the Reds players. And then if they make it, great. I'm watching because they made it. And if they don't make it, I'm not going to watch anyways because I voted. I'm just going to, I don't know. Kev, why were you shaking your head? Why
because in the United States, popularity rules the day. Like the most popular people are in the world right now are the Kardashians. You may not like them. I may not like them, but they are popular. We love popularity. Why not give the fans what they want? He's a very popular player. He's going to push the envelope for not only guys that are watching baseball all the time who tune in to every single game regardless, but for the people that haven't watched baseball, you want to make sure your product is out there. Look, you're not fighting against the everyday baseball viewer. You're fighting against, football. You're fighting against college football. You're fighting against all these other entities. To have somebody out there that actually brings wishy-washy fans to the TV set to watch your product is something you should do. But when you have the opportunity, not saying change things up in a quote unquote real game. This is an exhibition game. So why not do it?
Because the ratings for the All-Star game are horrible. The NBA All-Star game horrible.
Nobody watches
Pro Bowl horrible.
Yeah, nobody watches the actual game.
But you want fans to feel, to Kev's point, John, you want fans to feel like they have a say.
Yeah.
You want to feel like, oh man, I played a role in that. But it's one of those where you're right, Kev. If it meant like, oh man, ratings are through the roof because fans feel like they're involved. I don't think maybe ratings are worse if there's no fan vote. But I also don't think that the league would get it wrong. If the league, to John's point, if the league named the All-Stars, I don't think the league would get it wrong. Plus, there's other numbers out there.
League? What do you mean league?
Like if there was no fan vote, how would we determine who's on these All-Star rosters? That's I think the league would determine that, right?
Well, the way they do it now, the reserve squad, so the guys that are hurt that get voted in by the fans, it's done by the players. And fellow players, they're going to vote the guys in that belong. And also they put in a few years ago, the last few spots get filled by the fans only. So it's determined by that hometown bias or the best team bias, which is the case for the Braves this year, which got 2 All-Stars in there that I don't believe deserve to be there, but I'm a baseball fan. So, but as far as overhauling the whole All-Star experience for MLB, the way that the NHL's gone and the way that MLB has gone, you need skills competitions. That's just me personally. Yes, people are going to watch the game, but that's not. More people will watch the Derby tonight than will watch the All-Star game tomorrow night.
I agree. And that's why I thought Elly De La Cruz rejecting the home run derby invitation, I thought that hurts the game more. His decline of the invite, that hurts the game more than him not playing for an inning or two in the All-Star game tomorrow night. More eyes and more because when he's in the batter's box for the derby, that's multiple 5, 6, 7 minute blocks of time where they're in there and all the player features and all the background stories. And all. I think he's on more display in the home run derby than the actual All-Star game where he gets a quick at bat or two and then they go on to the next person and sub in and out. So that's where I'm at with that. I think, I agree with you on that. So last thing on this, and John, thank you, man. Appreciate the call. The fans getting to vote doesn't hurt it, but I don't think getting rid of the fan vote would hurt it either. I guess is kind of where I'm coming from on that.
So I wanted to ask you and John this. So we talked about this actually last week. What do you do for a quote unquote skills competition in baseball? Like obviously in basketball, you have the 3-point shootout and all that type of stuff that they do. What skills are you going to display in baseball? I just don't know because we talked about it before. Like, we're going to have Elly run the 40. Like, I just don't know what you do. This is the same reason, like, the skills competition that they try to do in the NFL thing just basically is corny. Like, you're going to have dudes bench pressing? Like, you're going to do dudes running the 40? Like, I just don't get it. Like, the only skills competitions are in hockey and in basketball. So because those are the places that, like, okay, outside of hitting a ball, that you do that all the time. Like, I don't know.
We could do a velo derby or a launch angle derby. Hey, he didn't even come close to leaving the ballpark, but damn, he hit it high in the air. So it's a fly ball is what you're saying. Yeah, we could just have a nerd derby. The WXBC .234 derby. I don't even know what the hell that is, but y'all seem to be really excited about that stuff. I mean, whatever. But, I'm hitting 147 and I'm a great player derby. All that stuff. I mean, lots of great derbies. I don't know what else you could do. The home run derby is the best all-star event in all of sports, in my opinion.
Oh, better than the 3-point shootout.
Yeah, I think it's better than the 3-point shootout. But the 3-point second to me, it used to be the dunk contest, but I think that's kind of watered down. I think it just depends on you have to have all-stars in it, not no names. It's not the no-star weekend. It's the all-star weekend. Let's do another one. Let's go to Jesse. Jesse, welcome, sir.
What's going on, fellas?
What up?
It's not football season. What do you want? It's not football season. What do you want?
Well, what do I want? No, I kind of missed you guys. It's warm weather season, which is money making season for me, and y'all been a little low on the totem pole. That's not a short joke, Justin, but I have met Justin in person before, so I definitely see why his ass ain't in the deep end of the pool. I totally understand that, but I've been itching to call into y'all, and you guys were talking about how David Bell switches up people's player positions and everything. And as a fan, I don't like that. But I remember a young Justin Kenner running the board for Mark Schlemmer and doing Wright State games, getting his own show.
I never ran the board for Mark Schlemmer. Me and Schlemmer sat side by side.
Hey, okay, hey. I don't know how radio works. I thought that was a good thing. And then somehow they let you in UD Arena and let you do games in there. I don't know how you slip by them to do that, but
I think WHIO put up a couple roadblocks for me this year, but I found my way in there. They tried to, they didn't care about a certain tournament for a few years, and then we did it and kicked ass with it, and then they wanted to try to keep me out, but they didn't keep me out. I'll be right there this year. So just throw that out.
I do agree you did. But my actual point is that I think the versatility of being able to play different positions. You were saying that agents would say that, you can't get to the All-Star game if you're playing different positions. Well, what if there is a loaded position and then, David Bell playing all these different positions? Maybe it's versatility that can get you signed with another team that's he has played this. He hit 280, when he was playing this position, had very few errors. But that's versatility. I think there's a contradiction on what you were kind of saying about how it's crappy. I said crappy. That was really close. And how, and what you were saying, I think there's a benefit to playing more positions, especially if you haven't completely proven yourself yet, then you're still trying to prove yourself. Now you have versatility at different positions. I think that's a benefit.
Yes and no. I see what you're saying. I mean, look, you open the door to having more opportunities to play. So that helps. And there's no doubt about that. But keep in mind from a fan perspective, how about Deebo Samuel with the 49ers? What was his biggest complaint? He got tired of being used. He wanted to be used as a wide receiver, but they were using him as a running back. And he said, no. I'm a wide receiver. Every play that you're handing the ball off to me is a play that I could be receiving a catch and adding to my totals and being able to knock off some of his bonuses and stuff. So,
I would say there's a lot less divas in baseball.
No, I disagree. I think right now they're not at diva levels yet because they're so, as you talked about, they're so young and they're still trying to prove, okay, am I an all-star shortstop or third baseman? But you could only play with fire for so long before some of these guys as a whole are going to come together and say, all right, I'm a second baseman. I'm a shortstop. I'm a third baseman. I'm not a hybrid player, and you need to play me as such. You could do that with the likes of Kyle Farmer, who's not a superstar player. He's just a versatile. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's a versatile guy. But Kyle, as great as Farmer was, as fun as Farmer was, he's not Matt McClain. He's not Elly De La Cruz. He's not one of these megastars. Megastars, they want to define position. They're not trying to just be a guy that, I'll play whatever you want me to get a roster spot. These guys have a roster spot no matter what.
I would say that winning would calm down everybody coming together and wanting this and wanting this. If you're winning, then I think they're going to be like, hey, let's just ride this out. We're going to get ours at some point. If we're winning now, let's say, they go under 500, at some point at next year or the year after, then, all hell breaks loose. But winning cures everything. You know that.
Jesse, good to hear from you.
Later, Bubba.
Go Browns. All right. Kenner and Cap, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hosting a barbecue is a breeze, but managing my frequent heartburn, that was a lot more work. I would chew up to 10 antacids in one day. Now I take just one Prilosec OTC, and my heartburn is blocked for a full 24 hours. Just one Prilosec OTC a day gives me one-and-done heartburn relief, so I can go back for seconds on my world-famous burgers.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention, like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Where can you make the whole family happy for less? At Bob Evans. Find over 30 breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for $8.99 or less.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Kinner and Cav live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Phil Steele, college football preview magazine for the 2023 season. That is coming up here in just a little bit. We got Kev? Hey. Oh, we don't because the mic's not on. So that, that's me, running the board. Not doing it well.
What's up? What's going on?
All right. We good? We got you this second?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, why not?
I want to talk about my guy, Joey Votto.
Go for it. I'll have the bell ready.
To be clear, I have fun with the Joey Votto conversations. So someone the other day said, man, you really hate Joey Votto. And I'm like, you know what? That's not true. But I could see where I've given off that impression. Because I've been very vocal about Votto and his usage with this team and his contributions to this team. When I say contributions, folks, I'm not talking about his career contributions. That's not debatable. He's an all-time Reds great. He is one of the greats to play. I'm still trying to figure out where he fits in as far as legacy goes, as far as baseball as a whole. When we say we throw out these phrases too loosely sometimes, Kevin, he's one of the best of all time. I mean, he's going to go down as, I guess, one of the best of all time. Is he an elite player, one of the most elite players of all time? I wouldn't go that far, but I think Joey Votto will always be one of the best players to ever play baseball. But I think sometimes we throw that out too loosely, to be honest with you. But Reds Hall of Famer for sure, will be, in the Hall of Fame someday. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer like some of you guys like to say he is. But let's be clear. Do I dislike Joey Votto? No. We've talked about this about many times, how coming into the season, the Reds were in a position where they were supposed to lose 100 games. This is supposed to be an opportunity where you could tell by a lot of the branding and the stories and the makeup of this organization, you could tell the stuff that was put into place before. Keep in mind, this is how these organizations work. The media teams for these organizations, okay? Heading into a season, they have a content calendar already mapped out of all of the player features that they are going to do. If you notice, okay, if you look at the bobblehead promotions for the Reds this season, okay, the bobblehead promotions for the Reds this season, Gapper and all this, so they weren't even players. Like Joey Votto was the only player that they had a bobblehead set for. Okay, that's it. You could tell by the marketing and by the presentation of some of the giveaways and stuff, they had no clue what players were going to be what. They didn't know anything about anybody. They just knew Joey Votto. This season, they were telling you this season was going to be about Joey Votto and his legacy with the Reds, and that's it. The problem is that when they got to the point where it should have just been about Joey Votto, now there's a Matt McClain. Now there's an Elly De La Cruz. Now there's a Spencer Steele. You know what I mean? Like, and now there's this Edwin Encarnacion Strand guy that's ready to be called up, and he can't because of Joey Votto. Joey Votto is hitting 246 right now. He has 18 RBIs. He has 7 home runs. What's there to complain about? Okay. There is this guy, Jeff Lauterbach, that keeps just harassing me on social media, just all over me. And I finally snapped and I went off on him on social media because the lack of common sense drives me crazy. If you are these people that are that lazy on social media that do the whole, this age didn't, or this take didn't age well. Well, either did you. Okay, I clicked your profile picture. You didn't age well either, buddy. So let's just be clear. Don't talk about my takes not aging well, because here's the deal. When a game happens, I'm talking about how so for instance, the Reds are 50-41. Every prognosticator out there is talking about how great the Reds are right now. Man, this is a good team. This is a fun team. If the Reds come out of the All-Star break, are we going to, and they fumble and they get swept by the Brewers and they get beat up for the rest of the month of July, are we going to go back to all the announcers and prognosticators that said how good the Reds were and say, oh man, these takes are really aging well? No, because we have brains, and we're going to say, when you said the Reds were playing well, it's because the Reds were playing well. And then when the Reds play poorly and you say the Reds play poorly, that's because they're playing poorly. This is how it works. You have a take and opinion on something based on how someone is operating now. But I will say, Joey Votto hitting 147 a week ago, getting his average up to 246 right now, that's a great thing. That is a great thing for the Reds, because I said from the very beginning, Joey Votto has a spot on this team as long as he's contributing. What the Reds do not have time for is Joey Votto to figure out a new way to choke up on the bat, to work on a new swing, and to do all the other lazy takes that we've had for years. I shouldn't say lazy. Joey Votto is definitely not lazy. But all the other excuses that he has given us. Every time, Joey Votto, I've really worked on my swing in the offseason, and I've worked on some stuff. I have a new batting stance. I hold the bat different. I'm choking up more. Blah, 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 blah. All right? He has gotten away with that in years past because, well, where are you going to go? What else are you going to do? The team that sucks, they're going to lose anywhere between 90 to 100 games, not make the playoffs. We at least have that little opening day stretch where we feel excited about the team, and then reality hits us. Well, guess what? That's not this Reds team. This Reds team is really good. This Reds team is sitting at 50 wins at the All-Star break. This Reds team is sitting in first place atop the division at the All-Star break. This Reds team has another superstar that they're ready to call up at any time now, in Encarnacion Strand, and they haven't done so yet because of Joey Votto. So if Joey Votto is going to be on this roster, he better at least be hitting 246. He better at least have 7 home runs and 18 RBIs. And what? How many games have we got out of him? In July? 27. We've gotten 27 at bats or 8 games or whatever. No, 17 games. I'm sorry. We've got 17 games out of Joey Votto. At the very least, you better be hitting 246. If you are going to get in the way of progression, if you are going to get in the way of the growth of a youth movement, you better be getting in the way because you're contributing. Is hitting 246, 7 home runs and 18 RBIs contributing? Yes, it is. You know what's not contributing? Last week when he was hitting 147, he went 0 for 20. He was 0 for 20 plus at bats. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable from Elly De La Cruz. That's not acceptable from Matt McClain. And if those 2 rookies did that, I would criticize it. You would criticize it. Media would criticize it, because that's what you do. When someone plays poorly, we criticize. When players play well, we compliment them. We praise them. That's how it's been since the very beginning of sports, going back decades and decades, all the way back. What are we doing? I mean, since the very first sport ever invented. You play well, you perform well, you get praised. You don't perform well, you don't play well, you get criticized. It's as simple as that. So stop. If you want to be a fanboy, I don't got time for you. All right. If Joey Votto, who's hitting 246 right now, goes on a slump coming out of the All-Star break, and that average goes back down to 202 or, heaven forbid, below 200, you bet your ass I'm still going to complain. Because you could be in the way of progression. You could be in the way of this youth movement. But the only time you better be in the way is because you're playing so well that's why Edwin Encarnacion Strand is sitting in Louisville still. Because if he's sitting in Louisville continuing to knock the damn ball out of the ballpark night in and night out like he's been doing while Joey Votto hits 147, I have a problem with it. Hit 246, 7 home runs, 18 RBIs in 17 games. I'm good with it. I'm good. That's a good problem to have. That means you have depth. That means there's no room for Encarnacion Strand. I'm okay with it. So there you go. I had to vent. I had to get that off my chest. I am just tired. I'm tired of every time Joey Votto hits the ball, I get guys like Troy and Jeff Lauterbach. And Jeff spells his name with the G. What guy named Jeff is spelled with the G? First of all, I have a problem with that, but that's besides the point. All right. I'm not going to let Jeff with the G tell me that my take did not age well because I was saying that a guy hitting 147 was not playing well. It's called common sense, Jeffrey. With the G. When a guy's hitting 147, that ain't good, especially when you're making $25 million a year. Have we talked about the $25 million a year that he's making? Not a whole lot of guys making $25 million a year hitting 147 for about a 20-plus at-bat stretch. Just throwing that out there. Joey Votto, though, mega star for the Reds over the weekend. And I will say this. I do not dislike Joey Votto. I dislike the idea of a 40-year-old taking at-bats and opportunities away from young guys, especially in a youth movement like this. But, man, when he performs well, when he complements exactly what Elly De La Cruz is doing. Look, Joey Votto, and I'm kind of contradicting myself here, I wish he would be hitting higher up in the lineup. I would rather have Jonathan India be hitting lower in the lineup. I would be putting Jonathan India batting around 6th. I would take, like, Jonathan India has been inconsistent. I think the pressure of him hitting at the upper half of the lineup while going through a slump is kind of, overblown that a bit. If I'm the Reds, I move Joey Votto up coming out of the All-Star break. I would love to see, when you look at that lineup and look at kind of how it's all worked out the way that it has, I'm a big fan of moving Joey Votto back up into the top of the lineup. I really am. I think that that's something that they need to look at. TJ Friedl, I would lead off. I would have Matt McClain batting 2nd. I would have Joey Votto batting 3rd, and I would have Elly De La Cruz batting 4th. Now, I know this sounds wild. My only concern with Joey Votto hitting in front of Elly De La Cruz is this. If Joey Votto is on first base, let's say he gets a single, and Elly De La Cruz slaps one into right field, I think Joey Votto gets in his way. I think Elly De La Cruz could lap Joey Votto. That would be my only concern about batting Votto ahead of Elly De La Cruz, as wild as that sounds. But Elly, just knock the ball out of the ballpark. Don't have to worry about it. But this Reds team, it cannot be said enough how fun it is. And we are sitting here at the All-Star break, 50 wins, 41 losses, first place, Elly De La Cruz, megastar. The future is bright in Cincinnati. We're at the point now where we open up the show complaining because, Elly De La Cruz isn't in the All-Star game. That's a good problem to have. I mean, look, he's not in the All-Star game because he's not an All-Star. He's not in the All-Star game because he's only played 30 games of 91. It's that simple. It's math. Anyway, Kenner and Cap 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Today's sunshine to start the day, then going to see a few afternoon clouds, high of 86. Tonight, mostly clear skies, low of 64 degrees. And tomorrow for your Tuesday, going to be generally sunny with a high of 89. I'm Adam Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time, as in spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
The outdoor drama Tecumseh is back this summer. The drama, the history, and the spectacle make Tecumseh one of Ohio's most beloved traditions. Tecumseh has provided thrilling live entertainment for 50 years, and the outdoor theater at Sugarloaf Mountain will provide a safe and memorable experience for your entire family. Get tickets now at tecumsehdrama.com. This message is made possible in part by the Ohio Arts Council. Tecumseh, experience the drama.
Boot Barn honors a Western legacy built by those who persevere through resourceful determination. Ariat honors that same legacy by bringing innovative technology to classic pieces. Driven by a dedication to the craft, Ariat blends timeless Western artistry with advanced performance features for the modern cowboy and rodeo athlete. Out west, ingenuity is second to none. Ariat at Boot Barn.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Summer rib season is back, baby, at Frickers. Join us for the perfect pairing of frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs together all summer long for only $14.99. Bring the whole family as kids 10 and under eat free from the kids menu all day, every day. Spend time with the family. Enjoy frickin' chicken chunks and baby back ribs all summer long for only $14.99. And kids 10 and under eat free only at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
When I got the news, I was shocked. I was scared. I was angry. When I heard it could be treated with the right care, I was relieved. I was happy. I was given a second chance.
Urology Specialists of Ohio offers men peace of mind. 5 physicians and 5 locations. Now accepting new patients. Make an appointment with a physician that cares about your health and prevention. Urology Specialists of Ohio, Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. Online at urologyspecialistsofohio.com.
Sports injury, low back pain, or are you interested in improving your performance and getting to the next level? Orion Sports Medicine is truly a unique sports medicine and physical therapy clinic and training facility. We offer a highly educated staff that is experienced working with athletes from the recreational and youth levels to elite professionals. We offer services that include PT, functional assessment, wellness, fitness, return to sports, sports medicine, strength and conditioning, and more at our state-of-the-art facility in Miamisburg. For more information, visit orionsportsmedicine.com.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get up to 40% off select bathroom faucets and vanities. Plus, buy Southwire Romex Simple 12-gauge indoor wire at our everyday low price of $109. Head to your local Lowe's or visit us at Lowe's.com for more deals you can't beat. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. About 7/6 through 7/12 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. U.S. only.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I'm looking for fuel injector cleaner.
Right now, buy a bottle of Chevron Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner and get one free. Only at AutoZone.
Will it also help with my mileage?
Get everything you need to restore your performance in MPGs.
Get in the zone.
Wait, is it good for trucks too?
Whatever vehicle you have, you can find the right products and parts at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Festivals are back in Columbus. There's an event for everyone and every interest. Explore the complete list now at experiencecolumbus.com/festivals.
Got any?
Got any Chotskis?
I was thinking the other thing, but that's cool.
Chotskis is, oh, yeah. Well, same thing.
Tonight.
It's just a more radio version. Anyways, Kenner and Cap, 1410 Wing AM. Welcome you back. All right. How about Tumani Kamara? NBA Summer League. You watch NBA Summer League? Say you do, and I'll be pissed.
Absolutely, I do.
You watch NBA Summer League and get on me.
Absolutely.
About
NBA...
watching NFL preseason. NFL preseason, I'm weird, but Kev watches Summer League.
Absolutely. NBA Summer League is way better than NFL preseason. Way better. Way better.
To be clear, I watch NBA Summer League too. However, I was watching it the other night. So I'm on my deck smoking a cigar, having a few beers. Friends came over. We're watching the Suns, game. And I'm like, it's very weird. We're all sitting here watching Summer League. You go, and my buddy brought it up. He's like, what? He goes, Kev watches Summer League, don't he? I go, oh, yeah, I'm sure he does.
Absolutely.
And he makes fun of you for watching preseason football. I'm like, oh, he does. Yes. So
absolutely.
What's more credible? Summer League, NFL preseason.
Putting it up on Facebook right now.
Put it in the chat. What is more like, what do you get more out of watching NBA Summer League or watching NFL preseason?
Well, we know what the answer is going to be because people are football maniacs, but
or that Kevin's wrong. Maybe it couldn't be that, right?
NBA Summer League is way more fantastic. You actually get to see players play the entire game. Players that you actually going to see play in the regular season.
That's what Schlemmer always used to say about the NBA is, oh, it's fantastic. Every time something about the NBA had come up, he goes, oh, it's fantastic every time. But Tumani Kamara put up 20 points, had a very good performance in the Summer League. Now, let me ask you this. To be fair, I've always watched the Summer League. I get a big, especially going back to like when Costas got drafted, I enjoyed watching that. Like Dayton's had a lot of players kind of go into the league, so I've been watching it more and more. But like when Luke Kennard was drafted, so I started getting into it more then in the Ohio State players. But I think it's pretty cool. Like a lot of times when a player gets drafted, like the NFL draft, okay, Joe Burrow gets drafted in 2020. We had to wait all the way until September. You get drafted in April. We have to wait till September before we get to see you out on the field with your team, right? This is cool. Like Wembanyama, who I still don't agree with it, but he has a different look to him. He's just insane. The biggest NBA prospect since LeBron James, all this stuff. Okay, fine. That's, whatever. But like he gets drafted and a week, 2 weeks later, he's on the floor playing NBA Summer League.
Yeah.
That's why I like the Summer League is all the hype and build for the draft. I think the Summer League complements the draft. The NBA draft is not nearly as big as the NFL, but what does happen is, okay, we hear all this hype. They get drafted. We forget about where they were drafted to. Then the season gets here and then we might hear a name on, highlights and like, oh yeah, I forgot they drafted him. I think it's cool. You get to see them right away in the Summer League. Kamara looked great. I think, and it's funny. He didn't play. We talk about this all the time. The college game, how different it is. It's just drastic. Like we got to see Anthony Grant was sitting on that freak athlete this entire time. He's up and down dominating all these NBA guys in Summer League and he dominated college too, but in a much different way. But your takeaway, Summer League, how much stock do you put into the performances in Summer League?
I put a little bit of stock into it. I don't put a ton of stock into it. I mean, we got to remember a lot of these guys. Think about when March Madness ended. That ended in March, and they're finally playing a competitive basketball game, not training for basketball. This is the first time they're really playing basketball since March. And you think about the overseas guys coming in, and then you think about the guys coming from G League. So it's basically a pickup game with structure, with referees and things of that nature. But you actually get to see him. You see Wembanyama, going up against Brandon Miller, the number 2 overall pick in their first matchup. And then the second game, you see the market improvement from Wembanyama because he went from 9 points to 27 points. And you saw the things that people have been raving about, because you know how the pendulum swings. We rate players game to game now. Oh, he's a bust. And started calling dude a bust in summer league, and because he scored 9 points and then he scored 27. Oh, he is what everybody thought he was. So the pendulum swinging like crazy. You get to see Brandon Miller, you got to see Scoot Henderson, you got to see a lot of these guys that are going to be up and coming stars in the association. And then, like you talked about, guys that got drafted in the second round that we have some familiarity with. It's pretty cool to see those guys out there playing basketball. And plus, let's be real, man, it's the summer, dude. Like, the only things on TV are NBA Summer League, baseball, and now we got Wimbledon.
Why is it taking off, though? Because when I watched Summer League back when, like, Luke and them, even when LeBron played, LeBron was playing Summer League games in these, like, almost makeshift gymnasiums that, like, there were no fans, or it was like kind of like a summer ball type thing. Now they're playing these Summer League games in sold-out NBA arenas.
Yeah.
I mean, just you put the marketing machine behind something, and it has something to do with it. But
yeah,
I think that's played a role.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, ESPN just started covering or showing the Summer League games.
TV,
used
right?
to be NBA TV,
Okay.
and they used to do the one down in Orlando that was basically in a high school gym. They used to do the one up there in Salt Lake City. And I think over the last 10, 15 years, if I'm not mistaken, they put it in Las Vegas.
Yep.
And you already know, man, you see more stars at Summer League than you do in the regular season. Like, they're front row watching the games out there. You got the WNBA players out there for playing against the Aces and everything like that. You see a ton of stars out there. It's just an exciting time. I know the NBA also announced the play-in tournament out there. Like, they're trying to make this a big deal as opposed to just another thing on the calendar that they have to get through. They're making a big thing, a big to-do to try to bring more excitement to the product.
Yeah, and it's Anthony Davis sitting court. I mean, he looks in midseason form, sitting there in street clothes watching the game. But no, nonetheless, Summer League is good. So Tumani Kamara, did you get a chance to watch him?
I did not. I missed that game. Who are they playing? Were they playing the Nets?
Possibly. I don't remember.
I think they were playing the Nets. I think it was 2 games on at the same time. And I was like, I wanted to see more dudes that I actually knew who they got drafted. But no, I didn't watch that game. But I saw the highlights, though.
And
a lot of dunks.
Flyer fans were going crazy, kind of sharing a lot of that stuff over the weekend. But it was pretty cool watching him and all that stuff. So that is pretty cool seeing how that. And I do think, whether it's a 2-way contract, I don't know how that's actually going to work out. But Phoenix does not have a whole lot of cap. They don't have a lot of cap flexibility because of the Bradley Beal trade with Kevin Durant and all that type of stuff. So that and Devin Booker, but they also have DeAndre Ayton too. Like we talked about this last time. Like, I know it's the big 3. They're the big 3.5. DeAndre Ayton's not a superstar, but he is a perfect complementary big in today's NBA. And I think Kamara, can add depth to the size that they have coming off the bench, or who knows what's going to end up happening.
Bates Diop from Ohio State signed him to a 2-year contract.
Real quick, Ryan Strong says Kev is 100% wrong. Preseason blows Summer League away. David Shaw not said much, but Kev is wrong. It's a good day. Look at that.
Because we love it.
Drug free for a day, and look at me. I just I'm right over here without my medication today. I'm a little on edge. But
nothing like watching Tom Brady's backup.
I'm making more. Yes. Who cares? You're watching guys that are going to be playing in the G League.
Wembanyama? He's going to play in the G League?
No, he's going to be injured for half the season.
2010.
He did dominate the other night.
They gave Papa a 5-year extension.
You surprised by that?
No, because they know, man. They know.
Well, what's wild is Wembanyama, who didn't have a very good first Summer League game. He signed the extension after the crappy first Summer League game. I could see why. I thought it would have been ironic. That
would have been hilarious.
Yeah, he has that 27-point Summer League game, and then Pop signs for a 5-year extension.
By year 3, we'll be in the finals.
Yeah, so nonetheless. All right. Ann Anderson says, and right now the Summer League is it. I can see a home run derby on SportsCenter every night. So, David Shaw, I am so intrigued for your 4:30 interview. Been getting his magazine since 2010. Yes, to Shaw's points, we do have Phil Steele joining us coming up here in just about 10 minutes. 4:35, we'll be chatting with him. Let's go to Adam. Adam, thanks for holding, buddy. How are you?
Hey, great guys. How are you? So, heard your comments here, a couple of them about NFL preseason over the NBA summer league.
Kevy's wrong. Do it.
I'll take other. Yeah, I'll take the other side of the argument now. I'll go with the NBA summer league. That is their version of NFL training camp. Like, how are you going to find out these guys that you don't know about? The Browns, the guy's name I can't think of his name, but the kick returner, he returns a kickoff for a touchdown, 90-some yards. Come to find out, he lied to the Browns to get a job, to basically get a tryout for the Browns, who then signed him. They found out who he was. He returns a kick for kickoff, and he's a story for 4 weeks, like how the NBA Summer League is. It's just the basketball version of it. So that's my other side of the argument for those NFL.
And by the way, there's nothing bad about preseason. There's nothing bad about Summer League. I actually watched both. I was just laughing. I was laughing at the irony.
But I do not watch NBA preseason.
But that's what this. No. Okay.
This is not pre. This is real. These dudes are out there fighting to get a roster spot. NBA preseason, I do not watch. Summer League, I do watch.
Ryan Strong says training camps are even better than Summer League. I like Summer League. I ain't gonna let y'all pile up on Kev. Kev ain't used to all y'all telling him he's wrong. I gotta slow it down a little bit.
I think training camps are better than NFL preseason as well.
I'm old school with Kev, where they had the multiple sites. They had Orlando, they had Vegas. I think they had another one out in like San Francisco or something. You're gonna be on NBA TV. It was three games at once you could watch. Yeah. They need to bring that back. All right, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Later. Appreciate you, Adam. Thank you. Mike Weaver, he tweets into the show. What up, Mr. Weaver? He goes, I'd rather binge watch a Bachelor marathon than Summer League NBA. NFL is king.
NFL is king.
NFL is king.
NFL is king.
All right. Kenner and Cav, 1410 Wing AM. Let's see.
No denying that.
Ryan Strong says training camps are even better than Summer League. Oh, we read that one already. My bad. My apologies. I just like, read the what. Let's go read these one more time. Let's see. Ryan Strong says Kev is 100% wrong.
Wow, that's the first.
David Shaw, not said much, but Kev is wrong. I love
you.
These.
Literally are reading the ones you ran before.
No, I enjoy those. I'm gonna get those tattooed. I don't have a tattoo, but I'm about to get a tattoo that Kev is wrong for the hashtag movement that Kev started of hashtag Kenner is wrong. But don't worry, NFL season will be here before you know it. So will college football, and that's where we transition our attention to. College football season, is right around the corner, and I'm excited for our next guest, Phil Steele, the Phil Steele College Football Preview Magazine that comes out every year. I mean, from cover to end. I mean, just every team you can imagine in detail. I mean, the print is this tiny. For those watching on the feed, of course, it's teeny tiny. That's how much information they squeeze into this. If you don't know much about a team, you will be, a Buffalo aficionado. You'll be Colorado aficionado. You'll be Akron aficionado. Any team you want. I highly suggest you get Phil Steele's College Football Preview Magazine. He's going to join us next. I'll talk with him. We're going to talk Buckeyes. We're going to talk Big Ten. We're going to talk about Colorado and Deion Sanders. And we're going to talk a lot about kind of all of the big changes in college football and how it goes about him putting together this magazine. Phil Steele joins us next.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff in store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hosting a barbecue is a breeze, but managing my frequent heartburn, that was a lot more work. I would chew up to 10 antacids in one day. Now I take just one Prilosec OTC, and my heartburn is blocked for a full 24 hours. Just one Prilosec OTC a day gives me one-and-done heartburn relief, so I can go back for seconds on my world-famous burgers.
Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Hey Dayton, have you heard? Chevrolet of Troy has you covered for all your auto service needs. We're proud to offer a state-of-the-art dealership with experienced service, parts, and body shop. In fact, we're the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop. We make it easy with experienced professionals ready to diagnose your vehicle with the goal to get you back on the road quickly. That's right, Chevrolet of Troy is your best choice for service, parts, and body shop. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get up to 40% off select bathroom faucets and vanities. Plus, buy Southwire Romex Simple 12-gauge indoor wire at our everyday low price of $109. Head to your local Lowe's or visit us at Lowes.com for more deals you can't beat. Because Lowe's knows savings, Lowe's knows pros. About 7/6 through 7/12 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. U.S. only.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I'm looking for fuel injector cleaner.
Right now, buy a bottle of Chevron Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner and get one free. Only at AutoZone.
Will it also help with my mileage?
Get everything you need to restore your performance in MPGs.
Get in the zone.
Wait, is it good for trucks too?
Whatever vehicle you have, you can find the right products and parts at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get 11% off your next outdoor staining project now at Menards. We carry a wide variety of paints and stains. Ultra Advanced Stain and Sealant is a premium wood stain that will protect and enhance the look of exterior surfaces. Right now, a gallon of Ultra Advanced Semi-Transparent Stain and Sealant is $34.49 after 11% off at Menards. Good through July 16th. Savings or mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Not so comfy? They want to help. At Drake Heating and Air, they're all about getting your AC running ice cold again. Get your $99 AC tune-up with no hidden fees and no surprises. They're not happy till you're comfy.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. College football season. It's not here yet, but it's not too far off in the distance. Kev makes fun of me because I like NFL preseason football. I'll take any football talk we could get at this point. But Phil Steele, Phil Steele's college football preview magazine for the 2023 season is officially out, and it's just wall-to-wall, cover-to-cover information for every team you can imagine. And he's joining us now, Mr. Phil Steele. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I am doing great. How about you gentlemen this afternoon?
Pretty good. We're going to just jump into it. This is my first question for you, man. We already know recruiting is the lifeblood of college football, of all college sports. But the transfer portal, what are some guys that are in the transfer portal on new teams that are going to make those big splash plays?
Yeah, and the transfer portal sure has changed the way things are done in college football and changed the way things are done, I think, overall, especially for my magazine. We had to go out, push it to our release date. We don't send the final page of the press until June 7th, 3 full weeks after the transfer portal closes. Now, we used to be able to go to the press sometime in May, like those other magazines do. Puts us out a little bit later, but I think it definitely gives us an advantage. Now, as far as some key transfers, the biggest one, I think, is going to be Sam Hartman at Notre Dame. Because if you go back to Notre Dame last year, they had their quarterback in Buckner. He got injured, and they were basically playing with a backup quarterback all year in Drew Pine. Well, now they go from having a backup quarterback to one of the best quarterbacks out there in Sam Hartman. Hartman had a fantastic career at Wake Forest and steps into a team that's loaded in every position except quarterback. I mean, running backs, very deep. In fact, they moved Chris Tyree to slot back. The offensive line, one of the best in the country. The defense across the board, one of the best in the country with my number 18 set of linebackers, number 7 linebackers, number 9 DBs. The special teams, number 6 in the country. The only thing they were missing was a quarterback. They bring one in Sam Hartman. I think that's huge. And staying on the quarterback realm, let's go to Iowa. I know the second that Cade McNamara entered the portal for, I looked at the note, McNamara's in the portal. I'm like, go to Iowa. That'd be your best fit.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? He ended up at Iowa, and not only went to Iowa, a team that can use a game manager like himself, but also he brought his tight end with him, and Eric All. And as you know, at Iowa, they've had some pretty special tight ends. So I think McNamara and All vastly upgrade that offense. And while folks say, oh, it's Iowa's stodgy offense, they can't win with it, they only averaged 17 points per game last season. Hey, just 2 years ago, this exact same offense averaged 31.8 points per game, 369 yards per game. I think they'll be back to that level. They've got one of the best defenses. They've got one of the best special teams, and they're more experienced than last year. I think that makes Iowa a legitimate contender in the Big Ten, as does missing both Ohio State and Michigan, 2 teams they had to play last year.
Speaking of the Big Ten, what do you think about Luke Fickell in Wisconsin?
You know, I was wondering at the start, because you brought in an offensive coordinator in Phil Longo who likes to throw the football, and I was very skeptical to begin with. I was like, well, Wisconsin's strength is the run game, is the running backs and the offensive line and the defense, and now they're going to throw the football around the yard. I don't know if that's going to work. But after talking to Coach Fickell, they're not just going to abandon the run. In fact, he feels that going with more passing with Mordecai and the pass game is going to open up holes for Braylon Allen and Chez Malusi, and that they're actually going to be more effective than they were last year. They still have the big offensive line, and defensively last year they only had 3 returning starters on defense. This year they have 8 returning starters on the defensive side of the ball, and they've got a great schedule. You look at their road games, it's against Washington State, Purdue, Illinois, Indiana, and Minnesota. All of those games fall into the winnable category. Now, their 2 toughest games, they play that Iowa team I talked about at home, and they also play Ohio State at home. And another benefit to that, they get Ohio State the week after the Buckeyes play Penn State at home in a big game. So I think Wisconsin has the chance to be that surprise team this year. In fact, they are my number 1 surprise team in the country, which is a non-top 10 team that I think has a shot of making the playoff.
We got Phil Steele with us here. The Phil Steele College Football Preview Magazine is out for the upcoming 2023 season. Obviously, quarterbacks, that's always the main talking point for all teams, and you could always kind of decipher the success meter for a team heading into a year based on the talent level of the quarterback. Talking Big Ten, you mentioned Ohio State. They're a fascinating tale heading into the season because they have every talented skill player that you can imagine, obviously with Marvin Harrison Jr. And Ibuka, at wide receiver, and there's so many pass catching weapons that the Buckeyes have. Obviously there's, it's Ohio State. That's the premier program in the Big Ten, but you're only as good as your quarterback. How did you evaluate Ohio State with all the running backs, with the offensive line, with all the wide receivers, with all the talent that they have? Phil, how did you decipher, your preview for Ohio State, considering the wild card that is the quarterback with Kyle McCord most likely?
I think you have to go back and take a look at the history of Ohio State. And in the last 10 years, Ohio State's had numerous first-year starting quarterbacks, guys that haven't started before. And yet, Ohio State at the end of the year has had the top quarterback in the Big Ten 9 of the 10 years. So Kyle McCord is going to have a big-time season. I mean, look at the receiving core he's throwing to. You talked about it with Harrison, Ibuka, Fleming, Stover, and company. They have my number 1 set of receivers in the country. They've got a very solid offensive line, running backs. I think at the end of the year, Kyle McCord's a Heisman contender, much like many of those first-year Buckeye quarterbacks are. In fact, I've got Ohio State, even with the inexperience at quarterback, rated as the number 2 most talented team in the country.
I had said the same thing about Kyle McCord, but so many question marks about him. I'm like, if we're going to say that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the best wide receiver in college football this upcoming season, of course, talent-wise, yes, but matched with the statistical backing, he can't be the best wide receiver in college football this upcoming season unless Kyle McCord has a Heisman finalist type season. So I agree with you. I've been predicting that there's, based on history, recent history, it's been a long time since Ohio State's had a quarterback come in that did not live up to the hype. We have no reason to not trust that Ryan Day's offense with Kyle McCord and all these weapons, that it's not going to work out. So it's nice to hear you kind of, reiterate some of the points I've made too about Kyle McCord. I think he's going to be a Heisman finalist by the end of the year. There's no way you can't be unless you're a complete bust, and it's going to be very hard to be that when you have so many weapons around him.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there, Justin. So, great minds think alike, huh?
Yeah, there we go.
You can't talk Ohio State without talking about that team up north, Michigan. They beat the Buckeyes 2 years in a row. They went to the playoff 2 years in a row. What are your expectations for the Wolverines?
This is probably the best team Jim Harbaugh's put on the field.
Wow.
J.J. McCarthy gives you an experienced quarterback. They got Blake Corum back at running back. Offensive line's been the Joe Moore Award winner the last 2 years, trying for 3 in a row. They've added some great transfers there. Defensively, they're extremely tough. Plus, of the big 3 in the Big East, I'm talking Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, which everybody will have as the top 3. All 3 will be in the top 10 at the start of the year. Michigan's got the best schedule. I mean, Ohio State has to play not only Michigan on the road, they also have to play Wisconsin on the road and Notre Dame on the road. So those are 3 tough road tests. Michigan's got 1 tough road test at Penn State. They do get Ohio State at home, which is key. And, of course, they've got that soft non-conference schedule. And then when you look at Penn State, they have to play Ohio State on the road. They also have to play Illinois on the road, which is going to be rather difficult. So I think of the top 3 teams in the Big Ten East, Michigan's got the best schedule.
Phil, I wanted to bounce around back to transfer portal. Everything that Coach Prime has done out there in Colorado, he's stacked that roster with a lot of transfers. What are his expectations for the Buffs?
I think it's going to be a year or 2 from really turning into a team. I think that's pretty tough. In fact, I talked to 11 of the 12 coaches in the Pac-12 this year. The only one I didn't talk to was Coach Sanders, and one of the reasons would be he was still signing his team as I was closing out my coaching process, so we wouldn't have much to talk about. He would say, well, we got a couple guys coming in. I do like the talent they brought in at each of the positions. There's no doubt, I would say athletically, this team is an upgrade to last year. But, of course, last year, Colorado was just a 1-11 team. So how much upgraded from 1-11, and how quickly can this unit of talented players transform into a team? Plus, they're playing in a very difficult Pac-12, which has 6 legitimate top 25 teams. I think it's going to be a rebuilding year for Colorado.
Phil, with that, with the Pac-12, it's a very interesting year that we're heading into. It's kind of like the last season of college football as we know it before all of the the conference realignment really kicks in with Texas, Oklahoma going to the SEC, obviously with USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. Who knows what the future of the Pac-12 is and everything along those lines. But with that to the side, just this upcoming season alone, the Pac-12 is fascinating because watching, USC, who's been a solid program for so long, kind of reemerge now with the job that Lincoln Riley's done. That's the favorite to come out of the Pac-12, correct? Is that your vibe based on your rankings in the magazine?
Yeah, I've got USC winning it. I think there are 6 teams capable of winning it, which would be any of the big 6, what I call them out there, which is USC, Utah, Oregon, Washington, and Oregon State, and UCLA. But with USC, probably the biggest difference from last year to this year is what Lincoln Riley's done with the defense. When I talked to Coach Riley going over the team with him, he brought in a lot of transfers on the defensive side of the ball. In fact, I have 6 guys listed defensively that are transfers, like Bear Alexander coming in from Georgia, one of the top defensive linemen in the country while at Georgia, but he was playing behind some very talented players. He'll be the star here. He's got Bars coming in from Arizona, who was a highly productive player with 9 sacks last year. Guys all the way across the board. Mason Cobb coming in from Ohio State. And offensively, they've got Caleb Williams back. They've got dangerous receivers, a solid offensive line. The only games I've got USC an underdog in all year are a slight underdog to Notre Dame, a slight underdog to Oregon. I think the Pac-12 probably beats itself up as far as having a playoff contender, but if there is one, it's USC this year.
Now, you sound, from the beginning of our conversation today to now, you're very high on Notre Dame, it sounds like. You said slightly favored over USC. What's your perception of that matchup? For us being big Buckeye fans here in the Buckeye State, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Ohio State has to go on the road early in the season as they're trying to, Kyle McCord getting adjusted to being the full-time starter. What is your vibe about that matchup? You're saying Notre Dame slight favorite over USC. Are you getting that same vibe for Notre Dame and Ohio State?
I've got that game rated a toss-up. I can tell you right now in Vegas, Ohio State's an 8.5-point favorite. But if you watch last year's game, and you're at the end of the third quarter, this was a very young Notre Dame team making a road start with a young quarterback, and they pretty much played Ohio State even up. The Buckeyes ended up winning by 11, but it was a tough game for the Buckeyes. Now this year, Ohio State's got the young quarterback making his first legitimate road start because, the Indiana game will have a crowd, but Ohio State fans will be there. Ohio State fans will be there at Notre Dame, but there will still be a pretty loud Notre Dame contingent at home in South Bend. They've got the defense. They're a complete team. They now have the quarterback. I do rate that game a toss-up, especially with the young quarterback make his first legitimate road start.
Ohio State's making a quarterback change like you just talked about. So is Georgia, and so is Alabama. What do we expect for the guys down south?
With Georgia, they're in a perfect situation here because each of their units rank in my top units. The only question mark is quarterback, but then look at their schedule. They're going to be a double-digit favorite in their first 10 games. They've got a quarterback in Carson Beck who's been in the system now for 3 years. He's an athletic upgrade over Stetson Bennett, and he's going to have 10 starts under his belt by the time he gets to a tough road game, which is at Tennessee on November the 18th. And by that time, he'll be an experienced quarterback. So I've got Georgia clearly favored in all 12 games this year. I think they have a great shot at three-peating for the first time since the 1930s when the Minnesota Golden Gophers did it. As far as Alabama goes, this is when Nick Saban's most dangerous. I mean, he's only won one national title when they've been the preseason number one team. They've been the preseason number one team the last 2 years. This year, they're not. So that's usually when they're under the radar. They've got three capable quarterbacks. I talked about Tyler Buchner before, who was the original starter at Notre Dame. They also have Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson. All their units just loaded in talent. Every year they lose a ton of guys to the NFL, and the replacements turn out to be just as good. Toughest game of the season for them is at Texas A&M. I rate that one a toss-up, but they get Texas at home. They get LSU at home. I think Alabama's got a real good shot at getting back to the SEC title game after that horrible season last year where they went 11-2 and had 1 and 3 point losses last year. I don't know what's going on with Alabama.
Phil, obviously I'm a Buckeye through and through, but another team that I follow in college football that I really like is Florida State. Last year, they finally bounced back, got to 10 wins in that bowl game victory over Oklahoma. They have Jordan Travis returning. They've been crazy good in the transfer portal. What do you expect from the Seminoles this year?
Well, what a difference a year makes, huh, Kev? Yeah. Because last year at this time, you've got Mike Norvell on the hot seat coming off 3-6 and 5-7 seasons. And last year, they were, in my mind, the best team in the ACC last year. I mean, you look at my power ratings, the average game grade, they had 3 tough, close losses, but they outgained opponents by 165 yards per game in conference play. This year, 7 of their units rank in my top 15 in the front of the magazine. They not only have 17 returning starters, they get some excellent transfers coming in. It's a very dangerous Florida State team. Now, they're going to be the preseason pick to win the ACC. I actually went with Clemson to win the ACC because they get the game against Florida State in Death Valley, which I think is huge. And when I was talking to Coach Sweeney, going over the team with them, he made an interesting comment. Remember that 2018 defense they had, defensive line, I should say, loaded with first-round draft picks? He said this group doesn't have the star power of that 18 group, but they're deeper in talent and experience. And that makes them scary, especially with Cade Klubnik at the quarterback spot. This is a very dangerous Clemson team that gets their toughest 2 games, Florida State and Notre Dame, both at home.
All right, Phil Steele, awesome enough to take some time and hang out with us today. Kenner and Cap 1410 Wing AM. Phil Steele's College Football Preview Magazine is officially out. 2 locations you can get this, correct? Barnes & Noble and Books A Million, correct?
Yeah, Barnes & Noble and Books A Million, and they're the only places this year. Normally we're out there at your Walmarts and Krogers and things like that, but Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. You can also go to philsteele.com, and when you order it at philsteele.com, we do charge you a shipping charge. It costs money to ship things, but we give you the digital version absolutely free at philsteele.com. And one note for you guys, being there in Dayton, we're actually having an FCS digital magazine up and available in about 2 weeks. and we give you 2 full pages on every FCS team. So if you are a Dayton Flyer fan, you love FCS football, we'll have it for you. It'll be the only place in the country you get 2 full pages on every FCS team.
What about flag football and high school football? I mean, you seem to you don't like not being busy, do you, sir?
Yeah, I'm not able to cover the high school football or flag football, just way too much. But we will be doing the FCS this year, which has me excited because I love watching the FCS games.
Very cool. Phil, last thing on the way out. It's the last year of the college football playoff being set at 4 teams. Who are your 4? I mean, are we going to see Quinn Ewers in Texas finally, kind of leave the Big 12 a parting gift and say, hey, we got you another playoff team here? I mean, what's your outlook for the 14 playoff, the final year of the 14 playoff?
Yeah, they clearly have that opportunity, but I didn't go with Texas because many years they have disappointed, but I do think they've got the best chance of the Big 12. But my top 4 this year, going way out on a limb with number 1, which is Georgia, trying for their 3-peat this year. But number 2, I did go out on a limb with Clemson because a lot of places that I looked at in the preseason didn't even have Clemson in their top 10. I've got them number 2 in the country for the reasons I spelled out. I think they'll be favored in every single game. Number 3, I went with Michigan. I know it's tough here in Ohio State. I've got Ohio State number 2 on my power poll, but Michigan's got the best schedule in the East. They get Ohio State at home. And then number 4, Alabama. And, of course, I've got the Buckeyes number 5 just outside.
Ooh, that's a nice parting gift for us. I mean, good for you. There you go. Hey, this is why it's the last year of the 14 playoff. It's going to be completely different for you next year, right? Is it going to be so much tougher? I mean, when you got Texas, Oklahoma in the SEC, USC coming to the Big Ten, it's going to make your job even more fun, I'm assuming, just trying to assess these deep, super deep conferences with all these talented teams. It's going to make your job tougher to rank these, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably a little bit. And then the one thing is, I think it's going to make it where teams can afford to lose a game or 2 and still make the playoff. Whereas right now, maybe 1 loss and you're out.
Yep. With
the 12-team playoff, I think it might de-emphasize the regular season a little bit because you can afford to lose a game or 2. And a team like Ohio State, if they go 10-2 or 11-1, they're going to make the playoff each and every year.
All right, Phil Steele. Phil Steele's College Football Preview Magazine available, Barnes & Noble and Books A Million, of course, and we'll continue to push the website where people can go and purchase, make that purchase as well. Phil, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your time today.
Hey, a lot of fun talking football with you guys today. Always enjoy it. Thanks for having me on.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio.